Okay, to set your two-step, you have two knobs there. The top knob is the 1000 RPM and the bottom knob is the 100. Right now I've got it set at 3500 or so. So you can just adjust those as you need to set your two-step. Wherever it's set, that's where it's gonna, when you press the Transbrake two-step button, it's gonna hold that RPM. And I'll show you that in a minute. Okay, so we're in the car now. This here, this activates your Transbrake and your two-step together. You can see it just runs down here. Normally I keep it coiled up above the steering wheel, and I just tuck it in there, and I leave it there when I'm not using it. That way it doesn't accidentally get pushed. It's bad news if it does. So what you want to do is, whenever you're going to launch, you have your car running, get up to the line, press that button, then you can let off the brake and just smash the gas all the way to the ground, and it'll hold whatever RPM you want, whatever it's set at. And then when you're ready to go, you just let off. And I'm going to show you here live in just a second. Okay, so the car is running. I've got it in drive. I'm going to go ahead and set the e-brake since I don't actually want to take off. I'm going to push the button, let off the brake. Now I'm going to hit the gas. And it held at 3600. I never let off. I still have it on. I'll do it one more time and I'll actually let off this time. Okay, second time. My foot is on the brake. Button in. Foot off the brake. Now this time I'm going to show you the boost. And when I let off, I'm going to let it build a little boost, and I'm going to let off the button. So as you can see, when I let off the gas, the car took off. I let off immediately, got on the brake, but I had to get the hand on the wheel, so the phone started moving around a little bit. That noise you hear, that sounds like air, that's the boost controller. It activates automatically at 2 pounds, or you can manually set it, and I'll show you that in the next video. But it was coming on and off by itself. The other thing is, everybody always asks me, what is this zip tie for? And I'll cut it off before I send the car, but what it is on this boost gauge, I didn't wire up the light, so it doesn't have it's not backlit. So what I do is I get my phone sometimes at the track, and I use this zip tie to hold it against the steering wheel, so I can shine the light at the boost gauge and I can see how much boost I'm running at the track. So just figured I'd explain that to you. I'm going to cut it off before I send you the car though. Other than that, that's it. The two-step in the Transbrake is pretty simple. You won't have a problem there. Just I usually hold my hand on the wheel with the Transbrake. That way I've got two hands on the wheel, because I usually do it like this, something, somehow, because when the car takes off, it's go time. You're gone. So you don't want to be messing around. You don't want to be like this. You want to have it up here like this or something, because it's going to be gone. I wish I could demonstrate that, but I really can't out here on the street anywhere. Anyway, I'll explain the boost leash in the next little video. So this is the boost leash boost controller. It's a pretty simple unit once you learn how to use it. Sometimes it's a little difficult if you don't know what you're doing, but pretty simple. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to start up the car, and then the boost leash will automatically come on. So let's start the car. says Jason Wallace because that's who I bought it from, one of my buddies. Anyway, what you've got here is boost pressure and gate pressure. What you're actually setting on this thing is the gate pressure, not the boost pressure. And even though this thing says it's running 18, 15, 13 pounds, whatever it says, I don't go by that. I go by that. Okay, so you wanna go by this. Set the gate pressure. That's the amount of pressure that's on your gate, keeping it closed. The more gate pressure, the more boost pressure. But like I said, use the boost gauge, not that boost, to find your true boost. Okay, so what you want to do here to see what you got is you press that top red button, the M. Launch PSI is 14. I'm not really hitting 14 pounds. That's just the gate pressure that I'm putting on it off the line. I never see more than about 5 or 6 pounds though. You can adjust that by pressing the up arrow or the down arrow, whatever you want. We'll just leave it at 10. You can adjust that however whatever works for you. After that, press the E button on the bottom. I'm running 1 stage of boost. You'll have to do a little homework on that. I never really mess with that. I just run 1 boost setting. 1 boost stage, and I just leave it there. Press it again, and it brings you here. So what you see here is time 0. That means it just stays there all the time. The rate is how fast the boost comes in. I believe it's 0 to 50. I've got it set in the middle because if the boost comes in too fast on the street, you'll start spinning crazy like. And then right here is the gate pressure. I have the gate pressure set at 20 pounds, which shows me about 13 or 14 pounds of actual boost on the street. And to adjust that, you press the M, and you see that little line that's under the number? You get that line under the number there, and then you press the arrow up or down to adjust. The only one I ever really adjust is that one. What I've seen in the past is about 28 pounds of gate pressure will show me about 19 or 20 pounds of actual boost, but I don't usually run that because the car gets pretty hairy. So I'm gonna leave it for you. I'm gonna set it at about 20, which you should see 13 or 14 pounds of boost max, and you adjust that at your own caution. Get used to the car first before you start getting crazy with that boost though. After you've set what you want, just hit the E button, and now it's ready to go. Now this thing will automatically come on when it sees 2 pounds of boost, or you can push this bottom arrow and it'll activate, and it'll hold whatever your gate pressure is. Sorry man, the glare is horrible, but that'll hold that all the time. And to set it to release it, press the arrow down again, and it'll go back to 0. But as soon as you hit the gas and you see 2 pounds, this thing will automatically come on, and then automatically shut off whenever you let off. It's holding 20 pound of gate. Now it's off. So I'm driving up the road a little bit, and I'm going to just get on it a little bit so you can see that boost gauge engage. I mean the boost controller start itself up. Now you can see it came on, it held the gate pressure, and And then when it figured out that I was out of boost and slowing down, it went back to 0. So I'm back in the garage now, and I'm just going to shut the car off and let it, the boost controller will automatically go off. And now if you want to, I usually leave it on, but you can go back there and turn the CO2 off. I'll show you how to do that. But I usually just leave it on. That's up to you. I guess most people would probably leave it off. I'm not sure. But it's set up in the trunk. I'll show you that here in just a second. In the trunk we've got the battery, which I showed you a while back, and the CO2. You've got 2 gauges on the CO2. This gauge is the pressure that's in the bottle, and this gauge is the pressure that's in the line that's going to the controller. I've got that set at about almost 60 pounds. There's really no need to adjust it, but if you want to, you pull this up and then you turn it to the left to lower it, and then to the right to raise it. And when you're done adjusting, just push it back down. Once you push that down, it's locked into place. And then to close the bottle, pretty simple, just close the bottle. And that's how you work your CO2. Now in a perfect world, with the CO2 off and the boost controller only, you're gonna see a maximum of about 8 pounds. I'm running basically 4.5 pound springs in the wastegate. And the most you can do with a boost controller without a CO2 or something is double your wastegate spring. So like I said, if I'm running 4.5 pounds, the most you're gonna see is, you know, 9.5 pounds at most. You put the CO2 on, you can crank it up forever until, you know, you're done to whatever you want to go to. That boost, the CO2 will keep the gates closed. So just be careful with that.